right now on News Channel 8 at 6.
A terrifying afternoon as a small plane tumbles out of the sky and into a home.
Then a game of Pokemon Go ends with a player tased and in handcuffs. Tonight, the man's mother is threatening to sue police.
And Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton in the Bay Area right now. News Channel 8 is at that rally as we speak. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rod Carter.
I'm Jennifer Lee. Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with breaking news at the Florida State Fairgrounds in Hillsborough County, where Hillary Clinton is, in fact, on the stage as we speak.
Yes, she's been speaking for about 15 minutes now. News Channel 8's Paul Mueller is there live for us tonight and covering the whole thing. Good evening, Paul.
Starting on Monday.
Good evening, Josh and Jen. As you said, Hillary Clinton took the stage about 15 minutes ago. That's about an hour and 15 minutes delayed there. Apparently, as you said earlier, Josh, she was caught in traffic. You know, her first remarks, she talked about last night's RNC speech by Donald Trump, where she talked a lot about that speech, criticizing him and not talking about jobs and education. She even joked about how Ted Cruz was booed, even laughing just a few minutes ago when she talked about Cruz was right to vote your conscience, referring to Cruz that he said that he would not endorse Trump. Now, she said that he talked about problems, but not a lot of solutions. And right now, she is giving some solutions of her own. Take a listen.
Meeting a mother whose son died, meeting others who barely escaped after hiding from the killer, sitting around a table with leaders of the LGBT community, leader of the SWAT team, a county commissioner, and a Muslim imam who has been embracing the LGBT community. I was so proud. I was so proud. Well, but I'm proud of everybody in this country who gets up every day and makes a contribution and does your part. And what the folks in Orlando said to me was so touching. They said, we have to stand against hatred no matter who it's against. Racial hatred, religious hatred, homophobia, xenophobia, all of these hates that infect the soul. And we have to stand against violence everywhere. And that includes standing up for common sense, gun safety.
Tragedy that took place at the Pulse nightclub. How she spoke to the victims' families today. And the big questions right now are, again, is she going to announce her pick for VP, and who will it be? Stick with us. We'll have the latest either throughout this newscast or at 7. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Paul. It's worth mentioning Keith Caton, our News Channel 8 team, will be in Philadelphia for the Democratic National Convention. He will have live reports all of next week. Other big news tonight, we are tracking storms across the Bay Area. Let's go straight to our chief meteorologist, Steve Jervy. He's in the forecast center with the very latest. Hey, Steve.
Jen, the strongest storms are in Polk County at the moment, interior portions of the area. Of course, we've had areas today that saw some extreme weather, but right now most of the activity is just centered where the sea breezes are coming together across the central part of the state. That's the view from Lakeland right now. Some dark skies around that area. A little bit of rain, but you can also see the wet streets in and around portions of Polk County here today. You can see our temperatures, well, radar, where's our radar? There we go. Showers and thunderstorms continue to fall around this region. You can see thunderstorms have been active around portions of the area today. And these storms have been mostly across the central portion of the area, the northern parts of Polk County. It's basically where the sea breezes come together. The strongest thunderstorm activity is around Lakeland, out to Auburndale, down to Bartow, right down 98, and some stronger thunderstorms just west of Wauchula. Just east of Parrish, too, in Manatee County. But when you take a broad look at the area, we saw this with lighter wind flow forecast today. It basically allows the sea breezes to take over and do what they want to do. So when they converge, they create showers and thunderstorms. There's nothing at severe levels, although we probably have seen some small hail here this afternoon and some high winds, but that's fairly typical for afternoon thunderstorms along with lightning, as we've learned here the past several days.
That is a fact. All right. Thank you, Steve. We'll check back with you in just a few minutes.
And we continue our team coverage on this weather tonight. News Channel 8's Peter Bernard is live in Hudson, where there are several homes damaged in that area. Peter.
Hi there, Rod. We're at the Preserve subdivision here in Hudson. Take a look behind me. That is a large palm tree, about a 40-footer that went down. There's the root ball there. You know those normal trees have a large root ball. This one is rather small and shallow, and the homeowner is up there on the roof trying to cut it down. That's Jason Epp. We spoke to him earlier. He said he has minimal damage. As a matter of fact, it fell on a joist, so he's doing pretty good. The latest count is 7 homes damaged by this quick-moving storm. That includes this one where that 40-foot palm tree fell over on this home. Eagle 8 HD flew over the neighborhood and got some shots for us. They were joined by a chopper from Pasco County that also did a flyover for a damage assessment. Mostly they found trees down, pool screens torn, and some limbs down. It all started around 2:30 this afternoon. Preliminary estimates put the wind speed at about 35 to 40 miles an hour and about an inch of rain fell. And here's what it looks like on the ground. A large aluminum awning from a street in another neighborhood flew through the air and landed on this home's garage. One of its poles punctured the roof and scratched the car inside. The awning had to cross a 10-foot wall to get here. Pasco emergency crews are blaming strong straight-line winds for all this damage. I spoke to a homeowner across the street from where the awning fell through. He has a piece of it on the side of his house.
That one actually went over my house, from what I understand, what they were telling me. The only thing I did, we were sitting in the living room watching, the TV went off and we heard a long bang. I thought it was lightning until I looked out the side, and then I seen the shed was on the side of the house.
And he has a new awning on the side of his house right now. It has to be cut up and moved. Pasco County emergency crews spent part of the afternoon putting a tarp on some of the houses out here to keep the rain from coming in. The good news in all this, no injuries. Rod?
That is good news. Peter Bernard live for us up in Hudson tonight. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Right now, 2 people are in the hospital after a plane crash in Polk County. This is video from Eagle 8 HD of the scene right after it happened. The pilot and passenger were in that plane when it crashed into a garage in Lake Alfred.
The FAA is now investigating, in fact. We want to show you some Eagle 8 HD video moments after the crash. We're told the pilot had just taken off from Winter Haven Airport when he had some sort of engine failure. The plane, a Republic CB, went down, it appears, hitting some trees and then ultimately crashing into that garage on the 1000 block of South Buena Vista Drive in Lake Alfred. The pilot, 84-year-old John Murphy, and his wife, 75-year-old Doris Murphy, were taken to the hospital. We are told their injuries are not life-threatening. Neighbor Mark Henke heard a loud boom, and he ran over to help.
There was a guy over there already said, "Help, help." So I went around the back where the plane was, and they had the guy on the ground out of the plane. I helped pull the woman out. She was kind of trapped in there, and we wiggled her out. And the guy, he was laying on the ground. He had a big gash in his head.
The homeowner tells us that he would normally have been working in the garage that the plane hit, but he was not there at the time today, the time of the crash. He was out getting a chemo treatment, so that may have just saved his life.
The Tampa man is behind bars tonight after police say they used a stun gun on him while he was in a park playing Pokemon Go. Someone recorded the cell phone video of the entire thing, and police tell us they asked about 150 people to leave Ballast Point Park, and everyone did except this one man. Well, tonight, that man's mother has a lot to say about her son being tased and about Tampa police. She told me if she could, she would sue TPD. She would even sue Pokemon over this entire thing.
Look how far he is from my son.
Every time Michelle Mastro-Totero looks at the video, it breaks her heart. Her son David tased by Tampa police last night in Ballast Point Park while out playing Pokemon Go.
I can't help him, and it's sad because over Pokemon. I mean, seriously, cops, Pokemon?
Police tell us someone complained about people in the park after hours. They responded and told the roughly 100 folks they had to leave. Everyone was headed out, but they say Mastro-Totero wouldn't. He was with his aunt, who got him in the car, but police say he got back out.
And the officer continued to ask the suspect to get on the ground numerous times, which the suspect just refused to do so.
His mother says they did not have to do that.
These cops gotta stop. I mean, this is crazy. Someone could yap, 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 but they're not attacking you.
Ballast Point Park is a Pokemon hotspot. Pokemon enthusiasts go every night.
Ma'am, it's not safe to follow a Squirtle into traffic.
In Irving, Texas, police put together this safety video as they and law enforcement across the country continue to try to find ways to deal with the Pokemon craze and the influx of people roaming around. They want people to have Pokemon fun without actually ending up in the Pokey, something that happened to Michelle's son.
This is all for Pokemon. I'm going to sue Pokemon for this, and I'm going to sue Tampa Police.
At last check, David Mastrototero was still in jail. His bond is $2,250. His mom says he just lost his job a couple days ago, was about to lose his car, and is kind of down about life, and Pokemon was his way to escape reality a bit. Well, tonight, he's charged with resisting arrest and with violence and trespassing.
Still ahead, one rapper spent the day in court.
Coming up next, when charges could be dropped against the performer, I should say, seen kicking a fan.
Plus, one Hillsborough Association's history under the microscope.
Tonight, a former executive is facing federal charges, and he is not the first one.
Rapper Kevin Gates appeared before a Polk County judge today trying to get a battery charge against him dropped. Do you remember this? The video, it shows the rapper kicking a female fan during a concert at Rumors nightclub in Lakeland. Well, the fan admits she reached out and tugged on his pants twice before Gates kicked her in the chest. Gates claims it was self-defense and he wants the charges dropped.
You just see, hands grabbing at you, and for fear of being pulled off stage, after you warn a person 2 or 3 times, what do you do?
The judge tells us she will make a decision on whether to drop the charge sometime next week. However, if Gates is convicted, he could spend up to a year behind bars.
Shady business exposed at a formerly respected organization.
Coming up after the break, 8 on Your Side looks into Hark's sparkling record after its former CEO is indicted.
Now, an 8 on Your Side investigation. A trust violated.
The arrest of this former CEO is a dark moment in an otherwise brilliant history at Hark. Richard Lilliston is now the 4th former executive from the Hillsborough Association for Retarded Citizens, or Hark, to now face federal charges.
More than 3 years ago, 8 on Your Side exposed some shady business with clients' money. Senior investigative reporter Steve Andrews tells us about this black guy from an organization with previously a stellar record.
When I got into Tampa, when I arrived in Tampa Bay about 31 years ago, Hark was just a shining star. But according to feds, by 2001, under Richard Lilliston, Hark was robbing Peter to pay Paul and lying to Uncle Sam about it. Wearing a Strummin' My Six-String T-shirt, free of the ankle shackles he wore earlier in the day, Richard Lilliston emerged from the federal courthouse. Can we ask you a couple of questions?
I have no comments, sir.
Oh, come on, it's been years.
I have no comment.
In 2013, 8 on Your Side exposed that Hark snatched Social Security money from Vicki Caldwell, Robert Franklin, and at least 38 other clients, including the brother-in-law of Stephen Brannick, then chair of Hark's board of directors. Indicted by a grand jury, arrested by federal agents, Lilliston is now charged for his part in that scheme.
How could you? Did you take any money? I have no comments, sir.
Whose idea was it?
I have no comments, sir.
The plot included former finance manager Sandra Shepard and former CFO Marcia Weiss. Can you tell us why you would help cover up the theft of money from disabled clients?
I was doing what I was told to do.
Former Hark CFO Frank Panullo also went down. Mr. Panullo, whose idea was it to take the money from these clients' accounts?
Speak to my attorney.
You're the one who's entering the plea. I'd like to hear something from you.
Speak to my attorney.
Our investigation revealed this crew moved clients' money into Hark accounts from which Panullo and Lilliston gave themselves each $1,800 a month car allowances, while clients like Vicky went without dental care. Was the $1,800 a month car allowance
no comment,
worth
sir.
all of this?
Would you please leave me alone? I have no comment.
Don't touch me.
Move on.
While submitting false records to Social Security about how clients' money was spent, Panullo quipped to coworkers, Lilliston will look good in a prison uniform. Mr. Panullo said he thought you'd look good in orange. What do you think? Lilliston refused to meet with 8 on Your Side, at one point hiding behind a tree to avoid detection. He also avoided the feds until they took him into custody. Let me ask you this, did you hide from federal agents the way you hid from us? Lilliston entered a not guilty plea, then told a federal magistrate he cannot afford a lawyer. Sandra Shepard, Marsha Weiss, and Frank Panula all entered guilty pleas for their roles in this travesty.
I mean, you've been covering this for a long time, so I feel like I remember there was money the feds found in an account. Whatever happened to that?
The feds are in the process of doling out $87,000 that they found in a Hark account to clients who are still alive. In recent weeks, I came across another pot of money that seems to have just disappeared, and we're looking into that.
Wow. All right. Look forward to that report, too. Sure. Steve, thank you very much. Appreciate it. By the way, if you have a problem that needs to be investigated, call our 8 on Your Side helpline. The number is 1-800-338-0808.
77 degrees, rain cooled here in Venice. You can see a southeasterly wind, some dark skies, some good storms around Northport, eastern parts of Manatee County. In Connerton, you can see here in Land O'Lakes, 84 degrees, and an overcast sky helps to hold down the temperature a little bit. Perhaps some rain-cooled numbers there. Hula Bay, 85 degrees, always a beautiful shot. And here in Newport Richey, 85 degrees with a south wind. Again, temperatures throughout the afternoon have been nice and toasty. 92, as a matter of fact, for a high temperature. Tampa International Airport, 97 degrees. The record, 1942. That was a hot year. Last 3 days, that has been the record, 97, 98 degrees. So way back in 42. The heat streak, though, continues of 90-degree plus temperatures 25 days in a row. The record 36 days. So we'll see if we can hit that streak record. Thunderstorms continue to fire up across the interior portions, probably not as intense as they were a half hour, an hour ago, but they've been very active. So watch for local flooding if you live in these areas where you see the big red blobs. So start from north to south here. You can see across I-4, still some rain right along that corridor. Lakeland, thunderstorms just south of town. Also, you can see east of Bartow, some pretty good thunderstorms as well that kind of extend farther south. This was the cluster that was very strong and kind of redeveloped farther south. You can see around Lake Garfield and then south of Bartow itself. Showers continue to build back to the west into Manatee County, Sarasota County too. I mentioned Northport seeing some rain. These are where the thunderstorms are located, pushing toward Duet, but they don't go much farther than that. You can see Pinellas and Hillsborough County don't see much at the moment. Most of the activity developing in some of these southern areas where they need the rain, need to push it a little farther west of that, but that's the activity at the moment. Temps rain cooled, a lot of locations. 82 Temple Terrace, Lutz, Largo 84, Riverview 83, 86 Newport Richey. Some 70s on the map. That's got to feel good in Bartow and Sebring and Frostproof. So that's the rain benefit, obviously, from these thunderstorms that develop today and other days. Thunderstorms are slowly kind of starting to build back a little to the west, but the bulk of the collision has already occurred, so the intensity won't be as great. As we look at the forecast for tomorrow, about a 40% chance southern areas, 30% chance, and a 20% farther north. So rain chances inland and perhaps a little farther south, slightly better chance. RAP model for the short term keeps that blob around the area. Some of these rain showers will kind of build back to the west, maybe just light to moderate stuff. Most of the intensity will fall with these thunderstorms as the evening goes along. So we'll leave that chance of seeing mostly a rain shower in the forecast here for the evening hours. As we get into tomorrow, fairly quiet, partly cloudy skies to start the day and into the overnight. Maybe some rain offshore here. A few clouds, a seasonable start to the day. In the afternoon, showers will develop once again, about a 30% chance, kind of like today with a lighter flow. We see the sea breezes, as I was talking about earlier, more active. Throughout the week, we've seen a strong easterly wind pushing everything to the west. We'll just see the sea breezes active this weekend. So when the thunderstorms do develop and move slowly, they can produce a lot of rain and potentially some local flooding. Rain chances are seasonal, 30, 40%, 30 probably being on the lower end of that. High temps will be warm too. Keep in mind 92 is our high today. Not a record, but it was a hot one. 93 degrees Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Temperatures are nice and toasty, so enjoy the weekend, guys. Get out early if you want to do stuff.
Seems like we have the same conversation every afternoon here.
We do.
That's the same pattern, right?
Yeah, it just pops up in different areas.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Sports is coming up next. We'll be right back.
Sports on News Channel 8 is brought to you by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers.
Well, 3 times a charm. The Rays have now won their last 3 battles with a stunning performance from the offense. Final score was 7-3. Rays on top of the Athletics last night. So let's go ahead and head to the West Coast and see what it looks like. Top of the second here. Tim Beckham at the plate. Here's a fastball. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. Solo shot for Beckham. Rays lead 2-0. Then moments later, it's the A for answer. Jake Smolinski lights up Matt Moore, and it is all the way back gone. 3-run shot for Smolinski. Athletics now lead 3-2. Moving over to the top of the fourth, another long ball. Now this is Corey Dickerson taking the limelight out to the right. The Rays never look back. Tonight they are in Oakland again for the second part of that 4-game series. A former NFL coach who spent years formulating ways to beat our Buccaneers has died. Former Vikings and Cardinals coach Dennis Green has passed away after cardiac arrest. When Green was hired back in 1992 by the Vikings, he was just the second African-American coach in the modern NFL era, along with Art Shell. He was 67. Pittsburgh Steelers fans and fantasy footballers like myself, well, we can start cringing right now. Star running back Le'Veon Bell is in hot water. He missed a drug test and is now facing a 4-game suspension. Bell will appeal that. Meanwhile, the International Olympic Committee has some troubling news today. The IOC says it has busted 45 more athletes, including 23 medalists, all for doping. The committee retested samples from the 2008 and 2012 Olympics. This addition brings the total number of athletes who have failed tests to 98. 30 cases are from the Beijing Olympics, the remaining 15 from the London Games.
Did you say from 2008? How long do they keep these samples?
They keep the samples for 10 years, just because technology, yeah, you know, the methods, the technology can change of how they test. So let's say if you end up cheating, well, look out, because 10 years later you can have those medals snatched with you.
Do we have a sense of who the athletes are?
No names have been released.
All right, Leslie, thank you very much. And go to where NBC Nightly News is next, followed by News Channel 8 at 7.
You know what? I think I'll tune in for that News Channel 8 at 7. You want to?
One of my favorite shows.
And you
All right.
will too.
We'll be back at 11 too. Have a great night.